Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SportsNetUSA.net. And it is the show. Every Thursday or so, we get on the air, a couple old guys, and talk some sports. Community college sports is our specialty. I am Corey Neyland. I have Mark Pavlovich is in the upper left-hand corner of your screen, and below Mark is a guy that you know has been around baseball since, I guess, from what I hear from Mark, the time he could walk. Head coach of West Hills Coalinga Falcons, Jason Smith. And we are just happy for you to be on the air. We got some uh, interesting news in the sports world for you specifically, and it involves student athletes. And so, since it's student athletes, we're going to let Mark go ahead and take us where we want to go on this hour-long or so journey. Mark, go ahead and start us off.
Well, I've been fortunate enough to know Jason all his life. I was there the day James Smith was born, and you're going to hear me refer to him as Jazz because that has always been my name for this young man because that's what he's done when you've been around him. You're jazzed to be around him. So, Jason, I'm taking you way back. Baseball has always been a way of life for you. And I'm going to go back to the days when your dad and I used to carouse a little. And I can remember the days when we had a little guy with us, Corey. I mean, a little guy. And we played on a club team back then. And we would take Jason back into our sponsors, restaurant/bar. And he would perform hook slides for everybody in the bar at a ripe young age. So, Jason, I know baseball's been all of your life, but when did the real passion, because you have never given it up, when did the passion grab a hold of you and you said to yourself, this is it, I'm going to play baseball or coach in baseball. That's it. If I don't do anything else, I'll be a poor man throwing a ball around.
Pretty much. I don't think there was really any, one moment in my life where, a light went off. It just has always kind of been with me. I know that when I really got into high school, it just was something that I kind of figured out based on my size and my skill set that this was going to be the game that if I wanted to really move on beyond the high school level, I was going to have to pursue baseball. But I've always had a passion for it. I love the strategy of the game. I love the difficulty and the challenges the game presents. And I've always just enjoyed all the guys and coaches that I've been around. And that's really kind of helped develop my passion for it as well. And when I really got into college, my focus was still just to try to be a player and play for as long as I could at the highest level that I could. And as my college career was kind of winding down, that's when I really, the game it really kind of grabbed a hold of me so much that I still wanted to be involved and really kind of give back to the game because the game really had such an impact on my life. I wanted to return that to all the guys that I'd have the opportunity to coach. So, like I said, it really wasn't just one moment. It was just kind of a growing thing inside of me as my career moved on, and I just figured out that this was going to be my place in life. So.
Yeah, Corey, I'm going to follow up on that in a second, and then I'll go to you so you can ask me questions. So you went to Orange High School, Jason, and played baseball there. So let's slowly take your career through baseball. Corey and I were just talking before we went on the air because I couldn't remember. I know a couple of places you played. Did you play community college baseball before you went to college?
I did. When I got done with Orange High School, my head coach was an alumni of the Cal Lutheran University program. And I went up there initially my freshman year. And after that year, it was just something that, my parents and we just couldn't afford it. So I came back home and I ended up playing for John Altobelli his first year at Orange Coast College. So I played my career there, and then once I was done at Orange Coast College, then I moved on to Chapman University. But being a a community college coach, you know, I have a really good understanding of this level, and because I played and I was a student athlete at this level, and the community college level for me was something I really needed, especially just on the academic side, and just allow me to kind of mature physically as well as emotionally, to be able to get through a university and a you know, a baseball program at the 4-year level.
And I wanted to take it a little bit further. At the 4-year level and the community college level, I got two questions for you. The recruiting process when you played at Cal Lutheran, then you bounced back to OCC, then went ahead to Chapman. What was the recruiting process like as a high schooler going into college for you?
Well, it definitely wasn't like it is today. There were a few travel teams. I don't really remember too many showcases. I believed I attended one camp, maybe at Cal State Fullerton, and it was really just, you know, having some contacts with your high school coaches, with some you know, college coaches they might know, or you know, college coaches coming out and just watching high school games. You know, back then we didn't have recruiting services, so there wasn't, you know, an opportunity for me to, you know, take video and post video and send it out on YouTube or anything of that nature. In fact, I don't even think we had email back then either. So it was hard, you know, for us to really kind of get ourselves recruited, and really get exposure to all the programs that were around. So, you know, again, fortunately for me, my high school coach, you know, took an interest in me and felt I was someone that could, you know, play at the next level, because, you know, I definitely had the work ethic and the passion for the game. And, you know, and he made a phone call, and so I kind of used that connection to get my foot in the door, to be able to play college baseball. The recruiting landscape is so different today than it was back then. So it might be a little bit easier nowadays just to get yourself in front of, you know, several hundred college coaches around the country, you know, with media and technology and so forth.
Okay, and once you're in college, at that time, was there a big disparity? Because we cover community college sports, you know, for the last umpteenth years. At that time, was there a big disparity in talent level, let's say at a Cal Lutheran, then back to OCC, or not?
Yeah, I mean, when I originally stepped into the program at Cal Lutheran as a freshman, there were some guys on the team that were very good players. I believe we had several guys that were kind of bounce backs from Division One. I think a few guys ended up getting drafted out of there as well, and that really kind of prepared me for being able to go back to Orange Coast College, and being in the Orange Empire Conference, which, I mean, you guys know as well as I do, it's probably the premier conference around, and it's a very high level, lots of talent within that conference, and even our own team at Orange Coast College. So, you know, I don't see a big disparity nowadays from then, as there's such a wide gap in talent. You know, kids are still good. We're in Southern California. You know, kids are playing year round. They're training year round. In fact, there's probably better training methods and more personal coaches are now around this days to get kids ready than there were when I was coming through. But you know, I played with some very talented people, and I'm fortunate that I got to be around them, and it really kind of elevated my game as well.
Well, and let's stick there with that statement, because Jason, after you bounced back, you went to Chapman University, and I was telling Corey before we went on the air, one of the players that you played with that I remember was JT Snow, because we used to sit with Jack Snow in the grandstands. Most people didn't know who Jack was because they weren't Ram fans or whatever reason, and Jack and I would visit and everything else. But when you talk about the guys you went to, I mean, you get to that level, you're playing college ball. when does that aspiration, because I know you thought for a lot of years you might make it to the next level. When does that aspiration of I can jump, because we know community college football, everybody thinks they're going pro. When did you
Yeah.
all of a sudden say, was it at Cal Lutheran? Was it at Chapman? Or was it much further down the road where you finally said, I love baseball. I may not be a player. I need to find something else.
I mean, I always took that mentality. Hey, I'm working. I want to play at the next level. I'm going to do everything I can to try to get there. I always knew inside that my skill set, I didn't have one skill set that was above and beyond. I didn't throw 90 plus, and I didn't run a 6'3", 60, or I could hit the ball 500 feet. I knew my skill set was a little bit limited. But I always still tried to have that as a goal, because I knew that would just continue to push me to be a better player, and always hoping that I might be able to get that opportunity. But if I didn't, I know I could look back and say, I got everything out of who I was, and there's no what ifs. As I was kind of winding down my college career, knowing that I wasn't getting a lot of, no phone calls from pro scouts and whatnot. Again, that was kind of, I'd always thought about coaching at some point, and it just kind of became a little bit more of a reality of, I don't really want to be in the real world. I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I want to be on the field. Like I said before, the game had such an impact on me and my life, and I wanted to kind of be able to bring that to the guys that were going to be coming through, and it's been just a great thing. I've experienced so much, and really built a lot of great relationships with coaches and former players. And so I just feel very fortunate that I've got to live this life so far.
And you mentioned what has brought you in your life. Who were those mentors that you had as a player, and then coming up through the ranks as a coach?
I mean, fortunately for me, I've got to be around a lot of great head coaches, and they've all had an influence and impact on not only my playing career, but my coaching career. In high school, Ed Howard. It was great because he always was able to relate to us players, in high school, and we got to learn a few things from him that kind of prepared us to be able to play at the next level. And actually, my first year at Cal Lutheran University, the head coach there at the time was Rich Hill, who's now at the University of San Diego, and Rich was just someone that had so much knowledge of the game. As a freshman coming in, I thought I knew some things, and I really didn't. But he really taught me a lot. And then like I said, I got to go to Orange Coast College and play for John Altobelli. There was again just someone that I can now, as a coach, I can look back and see how he always handled different situations. And how he, had his relationships with his players, and then fortunately I got to go to Chapman. I played for Rex Peters, who's now currently at UCLA, and I would say that Rex as a coach is my mentor in the coaching world. He'd done so much for me as a player, and then gave me the opportunity to stay on staff when I was done playing. And really kind of took me under his wing, going through my early days of coaching. And I can tell you right now that there are some times where as a coach and different situations come up, and sometimes it's, hey, what would Rex do? Because he always seemed to be pretty right on with his approach to things, and it helps kind of get me through. So as my head coaches, those were like I said, everybody's kind of have an influence on me. And fortunately, I've been around some great assistant coaches as well as a player, and I just have been very fortunate that I've had some great people in my life, that's not only taught me about, how to play the game and different strategies in the game and so forth, but just how to deal with people and different situations and help developing my character. So
Yeah, Jason learned at an early age, Corey, that there are some overzealous fans, and that as a coach, he learned how at an early age how to deal with overzealous fans. So there's some of the
oh
rest of
yeah,
us
oh for
that
sure.
aren't getting mentioned, that are getting any love for you. Jason, I want
Wait, Mark. Let me interrupt you, Mark. Okay, Jason, I've heard many stories about Mark and your dad, and okay, how I'm gonna say 70% true, 80% true, or 90% true. Because I've heard some stories that just make you say, "Whoo."
They're probably mostly true. There was a point there as I got older, I couldn't tell you if they were or not because I just kind of tuned it out. Oh, there were definitely some times they were, I could hear them cheering
Okay.
or, giving suggestions to the umpire about what they should be doing out there. That was always fun.
oh,
Uh, but
oh,
oh yeah, it was great. So they always had a great time. I'm glad they were. Honestly, I'm so glad they were out there. Like Mark said, he's known me since I was born, and he's part of our family. And my dad didn't get to make too many games as I got older because he's always had to work. So the times he could, and I just appreciate their support coming out. They would take me out to the field and throw me batting practice, and I remember them, no L screens trying to throw me BP, and I'm hitting rockets right back at them, and to me it was pretty funny watching them get out of the way. But they were right there for me as I was always growing up, and so I really appreciate that. They supported me in what I was doing.
it's been fun. It's been fun. I mean, and just for all of those that at your community college now that'll be watching this, yes, Jason's dad, Rod Smith. So I want to give Rod a lot of kudos on this and get his name out there. Both him and I were in a game, and yeah, we were a little loud and saying things, and it was in the first inning. I think it was a Kowloon game, to be truthful. We were in the first inning. We kept yapping at the umpire, and the guy finally turned around and he looked at Jason's dad. And he says, "That's it. That's it. Sir, you're out of here." And what happens, I'm sitting there, and Rodney's walking away. I'm not saying anything. I didn't get up with Rod. And the umpire turns around and looks at me, and he goes, "You need to leave too." And I said, "Why do I need to leave? I didn't say anything. I'm just sitting here." And he goes, "Did you ride with that guy?" And I said, "Yes, I rode with him." He goes, "That's it. You need to leave too." I got asked to leave the game because I went with his dad. So that just sort of tells you
Yeah,
what it was like.
yeah.
Jason,
Hey, they were passionate. That's all it is.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like that
and,
word, diplomatic.
You got it.
Passionate, diplomatic. Jace, it's that thing where most of us look at a career that you're in now, and most of us think we can coach. Most of us say, "Well, I can't play. My next transition logically is to go be a coach." And they figure they just walk into it. So what were the steps to even get involved in coaching? And were there any roadblocks that once in a while you said, "What is this? All I thought I had to do was show up. I'm an ex-baseball player."
Yeah, when you're a player, you just worry about yourself getting ready to play. When you step over to the other side, you don't really realize all the preparation it takes and to get a team ready to play. It's not just trying to figure out a practice plan for the day. Well, there's some time and effort behind it, planning just not for the day, but for the week, for the month, the whole fall, going into a spring. Your scheduling, as well as all the administrative stuff that you have to do with fundraising and making sure that your players are in the right classes and they're going to class, and your weight training program. You know, I've kind of touched on it before that I got to play for some great head coaches, and they were always very prepared. They worked very hard at what they did, not just for out on the field, but for what they tried to do for their players to either move them on from the community college level like Alto, or get guys being able to graduate college. And we had study hall, and that's a couple times at night, and you're spending time away from your family, and and the whole recruiting thing is pretty much a 12-month process. But the great thing though is, again, the coaches I played for, they were really aware of where I was at as a coach, and they gave me the responsibility they thought that I could handle at that time. And as I got more experience, and as I kind of went from one program to another program, I got to gain more responsibility and play a bigger role within the program. So it's kind of slowly progressed with to the point now where I've been doing it for 20 so years. I kind of have a handle on my system, and when things should be done, and timelines, and all the academics. So it's just kind of been a progression, and like I said, it's just kind of from one program to the next. I've been able to take on just some extra responsibility. So you just kind of learn as you go.
And speaking of learning as you go, when you became a coach, were you just a natural at it? Was it something that just came easy to you, or did it take time for you to become comfortable, or at what stop did you become comfortable as a coach?
I mean, in some ways, yeah, it was comfortable. I mean, I've been on a field my whole life, and I've been in the dugout, my whole life, so I kind of knew how all that worked. Actually, my first year coaching was at Chapman, and I would say maybe at least 50% of the guys on the roster were my buddies the year before. So that was definitely a challenging part of my first year. I couldn't go hang out with my friends that were my friends the year before, because now I'm the coach, and I can't really cross that line. That was really difficult my first year or two. But Rex had me stay on because I was a hard worker. I had a pretty good handle on our system and the game. I was always passionate. I brought the right focus and intensity out on the field, and I was someone who was always willing to learn, just listening to other coaches, not just within our program, but all around, and just trying to always really grow as a coach. And if I could get my hands on any type of reading material, or really kind of anything from a successful coach, I was studying, and because it was something I really wanted to get better at. Because I knew if I got better as a coach, I was going to help. My players were going to get better as well. So, it's just you kind of learn as you grow.
So the temperament between a player and a coach have to be two different things, because I knew you as a player, highly competitive. This young man, Corey Neyland, dislikes losing as much or more than you do when we play pickup basketball. And I can remember some of the silly things you did as a player because games were lost. And I won't get into those because I don't want your players going, Coach, you actually did that? But Jason,
thank you.
You're welcome. Jason knows what I'm talking about. Jason, there has to be that weird thing. I mean, I would think so. How does a former player that loved the game from the word go, the game was more of him than he was the game, and couldn't stand to lose, how do you all of a sudden take that temperament of still wanting to win, but realize I'm not playing anymore. I'm coaching now. You can't be Jason Smith, the player, and start screaming at a player out there or curse in the dugout. Where did you find that temperament? I know you talked about your mentors, but I got to think that's an individual thing. How did you change
It,
from one temperament to another?
it definitely is an individual thing. It took me a little while. Early on, I was still very intense, and losses definitely did not sit well with me. It took me a while to get over a loss. Um, but as you kind of gain more experience, and you grow as a coach, you start to maybe get a bigger perspective on everything. Early on in my coaching career, as I was close to my playing days, it's still kind of very narrow-minded, or very kind of a narrow focus on, we lost, and that's kind of it. Whereas you kind of gain a bigger perspective as you kind of just go through it on, and these are some things we did well. This one player has been struggling with certain things, and we've been working hard at it, and he kind of turned a corner a little bit today. You can kind of see an improvement in a team, even though we may have lost today. And so, perspective wise, that focus starts to really expand as you get more experience, and you go through different experiences. And that's what you're kind of learning early on in your coaching is, how you're interacting with players and building relationships, and the fact that, how you respond to certain things really has an effect on the players and the team itself and how they respond. So, all these games during a regular season, I used to take on, I've coached some teams, high-level teams during the summer, some travel teams. I've tried to get as much game time as I could as a coach, just to be able to get through different situations and learn how to maybe see something a little bit differently that might help me out as a coach, to keep our team, in a positive environment, keep guys, motivated on a day-to-day basis, and ultimately have a good experience. So when they do move on from my program, that we can still have a good relationship, and I can still be involved in terms of what they're doing in their lives after their career. So it takes time, and at least it did for me. And there were some times, when I got married, my wife really, that really, when, started to slow things down a little bit in terms of, how I would respond after a game. I had some other people, when I was on my own, I just go home and I could just sit and, it just really think about it. But it just comes with time, as you get more experience, you just kind of get a bigger focus on what's really going on, and what it's really all about. It's not necessarily all the time about a win and a loss.
And speaking about getting married, as a young coach going up and trying to make your name and getting that next job, explain the joys and difficulties you had as a young coach being married and moving forward in your career.
The difficulty really is there's not a lot of money involved when you're an assistant coach. You got to find other ways to make ends meet. So sometimes you're coaching other teams on the side. You're doing lessons. You're working some odd jobs here or there, just to try to make like I said, make ends meet. And that's a difficult thing, because you do miss a lot of time at home, with your family. But ultimately, I think we have more good experiences, at least in my situation, than we do a negative. It was great because my wife and my kids, they enjoy the game, and they always love coming out to the games, and I always liked having them there. There was an opportunity for us just to be together. Having my kids come out on the field or in the dugout, as a bat boy, and all the lessons that I'm learning, I get to bring home, and all the great families that we've met through our players and our other coaches and their families. It's been more of a positive experience for us, but that doesn't mean that there ain't some challenges working your way up through the college ranks. But we've had we've had a great experience. So.
Jason, you've traveled because of coaching, and you just touched on it. There's some problems that are going in. Coaches supposedly, be it football, basketball, baseball, track and field, there's this unity, there's this love supposedly for each other. Being around you, I know there were coaching situations that you thought you might get, and they didn't work out well. So how do you work in this coaches community where you don't burn a bridge, where you don't say the wrong thing? Because a year from now, I could be the AD at a school and have a coaching position, and if you badmouth me down the road, I'm probably not going to make you my head coach. How difficult is the politics side of working your way up through the coaching ranks?
I mean, it's really like anything else. I mean, it's always going to be there. It's just a part of the coaching world, and everybody's out there trying to make their own contacts and network as well for those individuals that may get in positions that you might be able to have the opportunity for, or you get in a certain position that you can bring aboard people that yeah, it's you're not there to burn bridges. The way I always looked at it was, every opportunity that I had at every school, I appreciate because I got to do something new there. It helped me in my process of getting in the current position I'm in. And ultimately too, when you're going for another job, you can just bring who you are and do the best you can, and sometimes they may have just kind of other needs they're looking for, and it's really kind of out of your control. So I always try to take the positive from it. Like I said, every experience is something you can learn from, and I think in all those different situations that it's kind of helped me become who I am as a coach and get me in this position. So you just try to do things the right way, and I think if you do that and you show respect where you're at, I think ultimately people appreciate that. So like I said, I just try to just take it as a positive, and you can learn something from every situation you're in.
And you've been pretty much a winner everywhere you've gone. You've been successful. Irvine Valley College Super Regionals, Fullerton Super Regionals at the community college level, and on the field, and at West Hills College, you're going to build a positive program. I'm going to let Mark ask this next question because it's one of those things. On the field, very successful. Off the field, in the classroom, being a student athlete yourself and your team. I'll let Mark ask the question, and I want to hear where we go from there because it's very interesting. Because as soon as we heard the news about that award your team won, it was one of the things that we're going to have to get you on the air and discuss that.
Sure.
Well, Jason, you went out because you talked about Kim, and that's Jason's wife, who's been extremely supportive of his career.
Before we're going to start that over again, don't forget this is the show on SportsNetUSA.net. We've got West Hills Coalinga head coach Jason Smith on the air with us, and sorry to interrupt. Sorry, Ed. Here we go. Go ahead, Mark.
See, I was going to slip that in there. See, Ed, there he goes once again. Age is creeping in at Corey Neyland. That sort of reminds me of your dad during a baseball game. Wait a minute, I got something to say. But Jason, to go in this world of education, because you were very fortunate to have a wife who's been very supportive, and your children who have been very supportive. And you didn't get just one graduate degree. You got multiple graduate's degrees. I know you through your high school years and things like that. We could talk about education and not that I remember, Jason, but I don't think in high school your GPA was 4.0. So I'm going to ask you this:
No.
was it was it Kim? Was it Kim really? And I'm very serious on this because your wife has a very good career. She has an
Hmm.
excellent educational background. Was it your wife that walked up to you and said, "Hun, I know you want to do this for a career, but you need to start understanding education, especially if you're going to coach in the world of colleges," and pushed you towards those graduate degrees that now have helped you get where you are? I'm sort of curious on that. Was it Kim that got you to go that direction? Or was it you that realized I better build this up?
Yeah, well, first of all, I mean, I definitely wouldn't be in the position I am without my wife. You know, she's just been great through all this, very supportive. You know, we've been together a long time, and you know, she was there early on in my career as a coach, and as well as my kids. You know, they've been very supportive, and we've tried to include them, you know, out on the field as much as we can. You know, so we stay together as a family. So, I mean, I definitely wouldn't be in the position I am right now without her and without them as well. To kind of answer your question, you know, when I first got graduated college, as I was starting my coaching career, I really didn't have any idea what I needed to do to be a head coach at this level. And you know, it was suggested to me that I have to have a master's degree. So I started my master's. But definitely after that, yeah, my wife was very instrumental in pushing me to be able to get a second degree, and definitely during my time, um, you know, to make sure that I'm managing the classroom side with players as well. Just because, again, you know, it was very important to her. It got her through to the position she's in. And it definitely, you know, gave me the perspective of thinking that, you know, I got my degree, and it's really kind of opened up a lot of doors for me, and allowed me to be able to stay in the game. So, yeah, she definitely had a big influence on that. And, you know, so part of our accomplishment, you know, the accomplishment we got this year academically, yeah, it stemmed from her earlier on in my career with making sure I'm managing that side of things as a student athlete, and not just you know, the athlete out on the field.
And that award that the team won is from the American Baseball Coaches Association. The team grade point average of a 3.0 or higher. How, as a person, and Mark knows my educational career, as a person who, let's just say, loves spending time in college for many, many years, how do you get your team to focus and get that level of achievement?
It's part of our recruiting process. You know, we talk about that when I'm talking to kids that coming into our program. That you know, we know they're going to have a passion for the game, and they're going to be out on the field doing all the things they need to do with developing their skills. But you know, there's another side to the coin, and that's, you know, in the classroom. And knowing that everybody's different, and not everybody's going to be a 4.0 student, but they need to understand that that will probably, it definitely will open more doors for them in their life after college, but it's going to allow them more options trying to come out of our program, moving on to a 4-year school. You know, the higher their GPA, I mean, the bigger the bubble is for them to be able to be recruited and get accepted into more schools around the country. You know, the lower their GPA, then they're really limiting their options. So we start that off with part of our recruiting, trying to bring guys in. You know, and community college is always kind of a mixed bag of what kind of you know, kids show up in the program. But we do try to get some guys that already understand that coming out of high school, because they seem to have be a little bit more mature and kind of have a real good understanding of what academics can do for them. And when they get in our program, first of all, my assistant coaches, they do, this is really, this award really can be put on their shoulders. They have did so much last year with the team, being in study hall, because we do study hall throughout the school year, in the fall and during the spring. And our department does a great job. We do grade checks as well every month. And we have a lot of great resources on campus that we definitely utilize, because it's all about student success. And the more successful they are, then they have the opportunity to move on to the next level. And like I said before, I mean, we want to really expand all the options that they have coming out of our program. So, it's really a team effort. It's not just, on me. It's part of our philosophy, but yet my assistant coaches totally buy in. And kind of with all that and our talks and examples that we've used throughout, we have a great group of guys last year, a great group of guys for this year. And they've really bought into that. And I think they really have a good perspective on where that might take them eventually in their life. So, like I said, it's really a team effort. And we're just, we're really proud of what we got to accomplish last year, especially, in springtime with the whole, COVID thing coming up, halfway between our semester, and really transitioning from being on campus to fully online. Our guys did a great job managing all that. And we as coaches still, want to stay involved with that to make sure they're getting the help they need or the resources they need on campus, to help them get through. So, our kids just did a great job, really resilient through that time of transition. And, we're hoping this year's group is up for the challenge as well.
Jason, you said it was a team effort, and you've been involved in sports long enough. Corey's been around sports long enough. We all know athletic departments sometimes turn a deaf ear, a blind eye to student athletes. So when you said it was a team effort, does this thought come from your baseball program, or did it come from your college that said, hey, Jace, look, we're a college first, athletics are second. We really want your players to do well. Or was it the coaches and the athletic department, the ones that helped you, part of that team, that said, hey, look, at the end of the day, win, lose, or draw, we want all our kids to walk out with their AA. So where did the thought process come to make the team what they are right now academically?
I mean, our school definitely makes that a priority, and they do a great job. Like I said, we've got a lot of great resources on campus. Not just for our student athletes, but all of our students. And we definitely try to utilize those resources fully to make sure our guys are successful. But for me personally, like I said, it's something that was, I really kind of learned early in my career, again, from various people, my wife as well, that this was going to be something that I was going to take on as part of my philosophy when I took over a program. So regardless if whatever school or institution I was going to be at, it was going to be a priority for us anyway with our team. But fortunately, West Hills, it really aligns their academic philosophy and the resources they have really aligns with with my own personal philosophy within our program about the importance of getting a degree and being able to move on to a 4-year school and then graduating from that 4-year school.
And you talk about the resources you have at the school. You have on-campus housing at school. How how big is that? Because this is one of the few community colleges that have that on campus housing. Is it how big of an advantage is it, or to make it easier for the students and for you as a coach?
Well, it's definitely vital for us. We're kind of out. We're really remote. We're kind of away from all the population. So the school really isn't a commuter school that we might be used to here in Southern California, where most of the students live within maybe 20 minutes of campus. That doesn't really happen out there. So having the dorms on campus is really important, not just for the school itself, but for our athletic programs. For kids to be able to come in and make it affordable and just being on campus is something that we take fully advantage of, because we have our guys there, and it really allows us to be with our guys, maybe more so than with some of the programs I was with here in Southern California. Our study halls, the kids are on campus, they can go eat dinner, and then we meet in our classroom. There's other activities that the school's doing, and it keeps our kids involved with us and being on campus. So the dorms are a big thing for us, and it's definitely vital to the success of our not only our campus, but athletics in general. But like I said, we've got some other things on campus. It's a small school, and what's great about that is it's really more of a personalized education. You get to really know the people on campus. You get to really know your instructor in class. We've got small class size, and there's just not mass people walking around. You get to see the same faces all the time, and like I said, you really get to create a relationship with students and faculty and other staff members. We've got a tutoring center. We've got a great library. Our counseling, athletic counselors are just, they do an outstanding job. Our DSPS services have always been just really, really, really involved, and it's just a great opportunity for some of our kids, and it helps them get through. So, like I said, our campus, it's a good focus for them. And and like I said, it really just kind of aligns with my own philosophy on all that. So it's really everything that allows us to be able to do what we did. So.
Okay, and here's the uncle part that always likes to get a nephew in trouble. So I get to do it now. What gives you a bigger thrill? Corey Neyland, that is the leading batter in your conference, and you guys win everything, or Corey Neyland actually getting an A in math, because he's not very good at it, actually getting an A in math, and comes walking up to you and says, "Hey, coach." And I mean, Chase, part of me is serious about that, because you are a coach educator, or an educator coach, like I like to put it in my blogs. So what gives you the bigger thrill? Your team winning? Because I know the competitor, or the man with a few masters in his back pocket seeing kids succeed in the classroom? And it's okay, either answer.
Well, I mean, it's both, because it gives me, this is why I'm here. I'm trying to help these guys out and help them reach their goals. And so, on the academic side, if somebody came into their college career and maybe they were struggling with some things, and we were able to help them kind of get through that, and he is so excited because he got his A in math. I mean, that fires me up, and that's a win. But on the other side, like, on the field, okay, I got leading conference guy in hitting, or we won, whatever. That's also a testament to what they're doing out on the field as well, because they have their own challenges and struggles, collectively as a team or individually, that we're identifying and working on every day. And so a kid that, again, maybe wasn't a highly recruited kid, come in and he leads the conference in hitting. I mean, that fires me up as well. And so it's really kind of twofold. Again, I've kind of learned, there's a bigger perspective, and it's really not about me. It's all about them. So if that win is in the classroom for the kid, and I am so happy for him, or if it's out on the field because they're accomplishing some things that maybe they never thought possible, or they've been working extremely hard to be able to do. Again, I'm equally just as excited for that player as well.
Corey,
And
we
speaking
talk
of,
about
of
a base. Oh, I was just, let me
I'll,
interrupt for a second, Corey. We talk about a
okay.
baseball family. I mean, this is a young man that I listened to that answer. There's part of Uncle Mark that's going, come on, man, you really want the win over this. But as the educator, I know Jason's still that. But talk about a baseball family. He played the game. His dad played baseball at Orange High School. His brother played ball at Orange High School. Your oldest son, plays baseball at El Dorado. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And his
Yeah, he's
youngest guy
football, baseball.
So when you talk about a baseball family, and unfortunately Kim, his wife, she's got two daughters, thank goodness, because the feminine side is still in the house. If not, because realize she was a trainer at Chapman University. Mm-hmm. That's where Jason met her at. This is really a baseball family. But the thing that I love about Jason is I see the educator. I know the man is a baseball kid. He's a kid to me. That baseball love, and he takes it to his family. And yet I watch him here as a young man. And back-to-back weeks, Corey, we have had two young educators, Jason Smith, my nephew, Clayton Bennett Payne, my nephew, that are the epitome of what education should be all about. People who care about the students that are in the classroom. And I want to thank Ed Ford because, Ed, it's been a ball. Just right now, we're not done yet, but it's been a ball having young men like both you and Clayton, Jason, on the air that really care about your students. And I really want to thank you right now because I don't want to forget to do it.
Well, I really appreciate that. And again, it's come from a lot of, just, how I was raised and the people that were involved in my life, and, that helped kind of, give me the right perspective and know how to go about doing things the right way. And, I definitely, wouldn't be who I am without all their influence, and that includes you as well. So, I know when you're out on the field and you're involved in athletics, it's, you're really kind of identified as a coach. But I really I'm a teacher. That's what I am. That's what I like doing. I'm here to, provide service and help kids out. And, that's kind of really the heart to my philosophy. And so, I know I'm called coach, but, even though I'm on the field, I'm still trying to teach the game and teach things about just life in general.
Well, Jason, we want to thank you very much. I think that's going to be a perfect way to end the show. Well, you got one, Mark?
Wait a minute. I need to stop it. Guys, for all of you baseball fans that are out there, unfortunately, there's one of us whose major league team does very well. They've won recent world champions. But in the bottom corner below me is a St. Louis Cardinal fan. And in the box next to me is a St. Louis Cardinal fan. And
nice.
I mean, fairness
nice.
is fair.
Redbird Nation.
Get another Giant fan on the air when we're talking baseball. And I just had to add
okay, wait, Mark. I'm gonna interrupt you, Mark.
And
let me interrupt you, okay?
I'm let you in it.
No. We got a minute to answer this question because we have it totally unbiased. We have a baseball coach. We have a baseball guy on the air. Mark and I have a conversation, a debate all the time. Better franchise, the Cardinals or the Giants? I mean, there's only one true answer, but because we have an unbiased baseball coach, Jason, what's the true answer?
Well, that's tough. They've both got a great history of great players and championships. But I'm going to have to say it's probably St. Louis Cardinals there. They, at least for the Cardinals, they've decided to stay in one place their entire, existence. The Giants just they kind of seem to move around a little bit. But being around my uncle Mark and my dad, and a Giant fan as well, I definitely always root for the Giants. Except when they play the Cardinals, definitely root for them against the Dodgers. So there is definitely a little part of Giants inside of me, but they will. The Cardinals, I'm going to have to say, are probably the best organization out there.
Well, you guys
there
both
you have
lost
it,
your
sports
status.
fans.
Both lost your status as experts. Yeah, out the window. Just before Jason goes, who do your kids root for? I want to see if there's brainwash going on here. Who do your boys root for?
Our house is all over. So my wife is a Boston Red Sox fan, and my oldest son Jackson is a New York Yankees fan. So he's joined the dark side. But those two, it's always fun to watch. It's always fun to watch them. And right now, this year, my son likes to remind my wife, how the Red Sox are doing. My oldest daughter Madeline she's not much of a sports fan at all. She's more into arts and singing, and she does pageants, and she's really good at it. My other daughter Abigail is an Angels fan, and then my youngest son Ethan, he's kind of torn. He likes the Angels, he likes Pujols, but Dad's a Cardinal fan, and I'm going to be a Cardinal fan too. So he might figure it out one day, which side of the coin he's going to be on. But I've allowed them to kind of be able to pick and choose who they want. I tried early on, but I found out real quick they've all got a mind of their own. So eventually they'll see the light, and they'll come over to the Cardinal Nation, and then everything will be, there'll be harmony in the house. So. But it's a lot of fun during baseball season.
It sounds like a lot of fun. No, well, you know what? Unbiased opinion, a truthful, unbiased opinion, and that's the only thing I heard. Cardinals, best baseball franchise of all time.
That's it. You got it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. So we want to thank you very much for joining us. It was a pleasure, and we'll talk later on down the road. I really
appreciate the opportunity.
All right. Mark Pavlovich, thank you. Ed Ford, thank you. Jason Smith, thank you. My name is Corey Neyland, and once again, this is the show on SportsNetUSA.net.